What happens when a person dies, but their pain keeps living? It's the central mystery of Ghost of Yōtei. On the surface, it's a classic revenge story. A warrior, wronged, seeking justice. But what if the truth has been hiding in plain sight the entire time? Because what if the game's title is the biggest spoiler of all? What if our hero, Atsu, isn't just called the ghost? What if she is one? In the most literal sense possible. Welcome back to Save Room, the place where we unpack the deepest secrets and untangle the most complex stories in gaming. Today, we're clearing out space to examine a theory that changes everything. We're going to prove that from the very first moment, you aren't guiding a samurai on a path of vengeance. You are piloting a vengeful spirit on a one-way trip to oblivion. This isn't just a story analysis. This is a forensic breakdown of folklore, game design, and the terrifying conclusion that Atsu's final boss was never on her hit list. It was the ghost staring back at her in the reflection in her blade. Let's open this case. Now, on the surface, Ghost of Yōtei looks like a classic tale. Atsu's village is destroyed, her family murdered, and she embarks on a quest to hunt down the 6 warlords responsible. It's a story we know. But what if I told you that the title of the game isn't just a cool nickname? What if Atsu, our main character, isn't just acting like a ghost? What if she became one the moment that katana pinned her to that tree? Today, we are not just exploring Atsu's story, we are dissecting her afterlife. We're going to prove that her journey isn't one of revenge, but of a spirit's unfinished business. And by the end of this video, you will see that the most terrifying enemy Atsu faces is the slow, chilling realization that she is no longer human. But first, to understand the ghost, you have to understand the world that created her. Ezo isn't just a location, it's a character. It's a frozen hellscape where the very concept of honor has frozen to death and been buried under 6 feet of snow. This is a world years after the fall of Tsushima's ideals. The samurai code, Bushido, is a forgotten fairy tale. Here, strength isn't about honor, it's about survival. And the Yōtei Six are the pinnacle of this new, brutal philosophy. They didn't conquer through strategy or nobility. They conquered through pure, unadulterated terror. But here's the first piece of our puzzle, the environment itself. Ezo's endless winter isn't just for aesthetic. It's a mirror. It reflects Atsu's internal state. Her heart isn't just cold with grief. It has frozen solid with the singular purpose of revenge. Every step she takes through the snow is a step deeper into her own desolate, emotionally frozen tundra. The world isn't her backdrop, it's her echo. And folks, that echo is screaming. 16 years ago, Atsu didn't just lose her family. She experienced a traumatic event so profound that it literally killed the person she was. Let's look at the facts. Her village is annihilated. Her family is slaughtered, and she is left for dead, impaled by her own father's katana. The symbolism here is so thick, you could cut it with a katana. This isn't just an injury. This is a ritualistic death. And everyone believed she was dead. But her body survived. Her consciousness survived. But her soul, that's the question, isn't it? This is where we dive into Japanese folklore. You see, not all ghosts are the same. There's the yurei, a generally sad spirit bound to a place or person. And then there's the Onryō. The Onryō, the vengeful spirit. This isn't a passive ghost. This is a being of pure, concentrated rage. It is created by a death filled with such powerful emotions, betrayal, hatred, sorrow, that the spirit cannot move on. Now let's check our checklist for Atsu. Traumatic, unjust death? Check. Overwhelming rage and sorrow? Check. And a singular, driving purpose for vengeance? check. And a physical manifestation that inspires fear and whispers among the people. Oh, check and mate. But here's the most tragic and most scientifically fascinating part of our theory. Atsu isn't just stuck as an Onryō. She is actively fueling her own ghostly existence with every kill she makes. Think about it. In Folklore, an Onryō is sustained by its rage. Every act of revenge doesn't bring peace, it feeds the hunger. It's a supernatural addiction. And the game shows us this in subtle ways, brilliant ways. Remember that wandering monk? The one who asks her, "When the fire in your heart burns out, what will be left of you?" This isn't just wise-sounding dialogue. This is a literal warning from someone who can see her spiritual state. He's not asking a philosophical question. He's making a diagnosis. He's saying, your humanity is the fuel, and you are burning it away at an alarming rate. And the game's mechanics support this. Every time you, the player, cross a name off the list, there's no celebration. There's no quest complete fanfare. There's just silence. Atsu stands there in the snow, and the emptiness that follows is palpable. You, the player, feel a hollow satisfaction. That's not bad game design. That's perfect storytelling. The game is making you feel the very emptiness that Atsu feels. She's not hunting the Yōtei Six to find peace. She's hunting them because it's the only thing that makes her feel anything anymore. It's the only thing that reminds her she exists. And that is the most horrifying concept of all. So if Atsu is an Onryō, then the Yōtei Six aren't just villains to be defeated, they are ritualistic offerings. They each represent a different facet of the trauma that created her, and by killing them, she is not achieving justice, but exercising a part of her own pain. Let's break them down, not as warlords, but as symbolic components of Atsu's psyche. Snake, the betrayer. He represents the shattering of trust. By killing him, Atsu isn't just killing a man. She is trying to kill the very concept of betrayal that poisoned her world. Oni, the brute. He is the embodiment of the mindless destruction that consumed her village. His death is an attempt to destroy the memory of the flames. Kitsune, the trickster. He represents the lies and manipulations that led to the attack. Atsu is cutting through the deception that doomed her family. And the most damning evidence? Some of them don't even remember her. To them, it was Tuesday. It was just war. But to an Onryō, the perception of the wrong is what matters. The injustice is personal, absolute, and it's all that sustains them. And then the story delivers its masterstroke. Atsu discovers her younger brother, Jubei, is alive. But reunion doesn't bring comfort, it brings conflict. Jubei now serves Lord Saito. He believes Atsu died years ago. And standing between them is Oyuki, Atsu's old friend turned betrayer. This triangle isn't just drama. It's the emotional core of Atsu's story. It forces her to face the truth that revenge doesn't just hurt your enemies. It destroys your relationships. Atsu isn't fighting for vengeance anymore. She's fighting to preserve the last pieces of who she once was. And perhaps she's fighting to find a reason to stop. The climax of Atsu's journey comes at Matsume Castle. Snow falls thick and cold. The air smells of blood and ash. She faces Lord Saito in a duel that feels inevitable. Every strike is a story. Every breath carries 16 years of grief. And in a final tragic twist, Jubei sacrifices himself to save her. Her brother, a piece of the life she lost, dies to save the ghost she has become. When Saito finally falls, Atsu doesn't celebrate. She drops her blade. Because vengeance did not bring peace. It brought silence. But here's where it gets interesting. What if Atsu's story isn't about revenge at all? What if it's a warning? Some scholars of folklore say that Onryō aren't meant to be heroes. They're warnings. They show us what happens when anger is left unchecked, when pain is allowed to consume everything. In that sense, Atsu might not have been the hero of her own story. She might have been its greatest tragedy. And that makes her journey even more haunting. Because if revenge destroys the avenger, then who really wins in the end?
So we have a protagonist who died at the start of her journey, became a folkloric, vengeful spirit, and spent the entire game sustaining her own ghostly existence through a cycle of violence that ultimately leaves her with nothing. But what if I took it one step further? What if the real hidden story isn't about Atsu at all? What if the story is a warning told through Atsu? What if we, the player, are meant to embody the Onryō, to feel the addictive pull of vengeance, and to experience the hollow emptiness it leaves behind? Atsu's journey is a cautionary tale about the point of no return. It asks us, when is a person so consumed by their trauma that they are no longer a person, but merely a manifestation of it? The answer Ghost of Yōtei provides is stark. The moment you choose vengeance over life, you become a ghost, forever haunted by the memory of the person you used to be. But hey, that's just a theory. A soul theory. Thanks for reading. So, what do you think? Is Atsu a literal ghost, or is this all just a metaphor taken too far? Let me know your thoughts and your own theories in the comments below. Sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the ones under the bed, but the ones we create from our own pain.